Hey everybody, Derick Van Ness here, Wealth Strategist, investor, and life adventurer. And I have a word of warning for anybody who's looking at the PPP loans. And my hope is that by the end of this video, you're gonna know some really important things that you need to know before you say yes to those loans and how you use those loans. So this is gonna be quick, but super important, because if you mess this up, it could put you in debt, in crippling debt for a very long time. So here's what's going on right now with these PPP loans. I'm by no means an expert. I talk to a lot of people. I've seen some really creative things, and I think the loans can be excellent, and I think they can also be a huge mess. So here's what's going on that's really important, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on how you might want to proceed. So the first thing to know is there's something going on that I thought might happen, and it's this. The government said, hey, these loans are forgivable if you use them for certain types of expenses, rents or leases, payroll, these types of expenses. And then people applied, started getting the loans, and then things started getting a little bit fuzzy. But if you used it for those costs, the government was just gonna write that off and you'd be good. If not, you've got this loan and it's got decent terms. But here's the thing. In my opinion, you should not be taking on debt that if it wasn't forgiven, you're gonna be in big trouble. And here's why. Right now, the terms of a lot of those loans that are written up by the individual banks the word they're using is slippery, right? What does qualify and can be forgiven and what doesn't? And those terms are really a gray area. The government's gone back and forth on it. At one point, they were going to use independent contractors and allow that to be forgivable. At another point, they weren't. Who knows where we're going to end up? But here's the thing. If you're holding the pack of money that you owe back to the government if they don't forgive it, you're on the hook for that. And I don't want you to be on the hook for anything that you can't pay back, even if you think it might be forgivable. So you got to be really cautious with these, because these loans are switching all the time. Nobody's quite sure. I know this was jammed down the bank's throats. They didn't know what they were doing, but of course their salespeople are like, hey, let's make some money, right? Let's do these loans for people. So if you've got one of those, and I have quite a few clients who have been offered these loans, you need to be really clear and really strategic if you take them. Now, a couple of things. If you've got a bunch of crappy debt, a bunch of credit card debt, or a bunch of expensive debt you've taken on, maybe you take the loan and in a worst case scenario, you use it to pay off the debt, even if it's the crappy debt with much cheaper debt, if it's not forgiven. If you take the loan and you can use it to make a strategic investment to grow your business, that's possible too. Just know that that stuff's not going to be forgiven. But what I'm really afraid of is that people are going to take these loans, take more than they need to because they think it's forgiven, pay people, do things with it, and then find out for some reason or another they didn't check a box, and now they're on the hook for $50, $100, $200, $500,000, and they really don't have any way to pay it back, right? So my advice to you is, know what you're getting, right? Read the terms of your agreement. I know so many people don't want to read pages and pages of that stuff. Let me just tell you, I have had some experiences in the past where people didn't read agreements and it was a real mess, right? Don't be that person. You need to read the agreement, especially the key things of what qualifies for forgiveness. If you don't know that, if you don't know the interest rate, if you don't know the term, meaning how long the loan is or how quickly it will need to be paid back, do not leave anything to, we'll figure it out later. Because the people figuring it out later are the people you owe money to, and they might just decide that they want it to be their way, not your way. So, bottom line, with these new loans, if you've been offered one, it's great to check it out. It's great to look at your options, but I want you to have a strategic plan. Once again, if everything goes wrong and none of that's forgiven, that you're gonna be okay. You will have been able to use this to be in a better position than you were. And if you can't do that, I would pass on that loan, or I would hold off as long as you can. Let the bank hang on to their money. If you know for sure it's going to be forgiven, you can see it black and white, and you're in a position that even if it didn't go awry, then you can probably take the loan, move forward powerfully. I know these were designed to rescue people, but I'm afraid that for a lot of people, they're going to get more hurt than they're going to be rescued, just because a lot of people don't know what's going on. They're making decisions with incomplete information. And my experience is when you make decisions in a rush with incomplete information and stuff you'll figure out later, it doesn't go well. So think about that. be cautious if you take on one of these loans. If it's a grant, like the EIDL grants and stuff, those seem like they're rock solid for most people. But if you're taking on a big loan that you couldn't pay off otherwise, I would think twice. Make sure you understand the terms. Anyway, if this was useful to you, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm doing everything I can to help get information out so that you guys can make better decisions. And I want you to live a big life. That's my company, Big Life Financial, and we're here for you. We'll see you on the next video. Thank you.